Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Marauders TV once again with another player interview. This time it's me interviewing Tony. We've just done the other way around and thought we'll just rattle both of these off, upload them, and that's some content done for the next few days. So similar to the other ones that you've seen so far, just going to go through some really basic questions, give you an understanding of who Tony is if you've never met him before, or a little bit more about him if you have met him before. So first off then, standard question, who is Tony Moore?
So Tony Moore is me. I think that's the correct response, isn't it?
What everyone else has said so far.
So I think my Twitter thing says that I'm a gamer, father. I think they're the two things that I would say define me. So yeah, been gaming a long time. Family man in that sense, so you've got to divide your time up between those things. Do have an extremely understanding wife though that lets me game like I'm a teenager that's completely free and single, which is definitely a blessing. So shout out to Nick, my better half. She definitely helps me and encourages me in this hobby, so that's good.
It's good. So we've got a little bit then about who Tony is, but how did Tony come to be in a gaming sense? Not in a philosophical or scientific sense. I think we know those answers.
So, I mean, if you've ever had this story, I got through high school without even knowing that this sort of stuff existed. In fact, I was 18 when I realised that this existed, and my little sister asked me to take her to Games Workshop because she was a bit of a tomboy, and all the boys were playing it. So I took her. She stopped after 5 or 6 weeks, and I carried on. So I was actually with Nick when I started gaming. So I never had the break of the girls' beer and pool break that most people go through. So sort of started and carried on. The game systems has changed over time. So it was early Warhammer and a bit Lord of the Rings, and then Haunted War Machine, and back to Warhammer and a bit of Marvel. Odds and sods over time, just to sort of cleanse the palate, as they say. So yeah, that's me.
Brilliant. So you mentioned that you play quite a few different games. How would you define yourself as a gamer specifically?
I guess in some respects it depends on the game. As per the interview with you, I always like to compete. That may not always be for first place. Sometimes you're having a mini battle further down the line.
Yeah, for like a best in faction or
yeah. So I mean, the fact that those exist, and the rankings icons and things. So if you've seen me on the table, apart from my 1-year dalliance with Change Host, typically known as a death player. So it's all painted in the same scheme. It all fits together. So sometimes it's waxes and wanes, doesn't it, with thingies, with armies and things.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was always keen on is getting the little icons on the rankings. Okay. So it doesn't always have to be I'm going for that trophy, but you compete in your own way, and that's not to say I won't go for the trophy. I've picked up enough second place trophies over the years. Various size events, but it's nice though when you take something that you just know inside and out that's not considered hyper top tier like the old Legions and Gash list.
Yeah, sure.
And you can take out an event with it. That kind of feels like it's a different feeling, isn't it, than kind of meta chasing. So
yeah, because if you're meta chasing, you kind of go into an event expecting or wanting to win, which can then lead to you not being happy if you don't, which is a ridiculous thing to have. If you've not come first in a 100-player event, you should never be upset about that. But it sometimes happens if you've gone out with that intention. And I think, like you say, if you're taking something that you want to play with, and you're not necessarily chasing the meta, although sometimes things just happen to be good when you own them.
Yeah.
It does feel better, definitely.
Although I will just caveat that because there'll be a few raised eyebrows. That isn't to say I will play non-competitively, or the weak version of a list, because that isn't in my nature either. But I will take armies and factions that are potentially not the cutting edge S tier if we're going into that, and try and make it work. So,
yeah,
there you go.
Well, and obviously, yeah, we are on the cusp of Age of Sigmar 3rd edition coming out in what, 3-4 weeks time.
Thereabouts. Is it pre-order this Saturday, is it?
No, Saturday at 19th, I believe.
Right. Okay. I know it's the first weekend in July, isn't it?
Yeah, release is the first weekend in July. I believe the pre-orders are the 19th.
Yeah.
But you know, there or thereabouts, it's coming out fairly soon. Anything specific that you're looking forward to?
I'm really looking forward to the new coherency rules.
Okay.
No, I think to be honest, I mean, people will know I used to play test and then I stopped, so all this is brand new to me. I'm really quite enjoying the way it's almost like you're being given a jigsaw puzzle, but you're being given 2 pieces a day, and we're trying to work out what the picture is.
You're giving 10%.
You know, there's good things and bad things in there, because you read one thing in isolation, you're like, that's the worst thing that could ever possibly happen to things that I like, and then on the next breath you read the new one and you're like, oh, but that's a bit sexy, you know, it's that kind of thing. So I'm kind of going through that journey. I guess it's with anything like a new edition, everything changes.
Yeah.
So you know, some of the monster rules and the command points and the things that are coming out from that, I'm looking at my flesh eaters that have been sat in a drawer for a while and thinking, oh, hello.
Yeah.
And I got quite invested in the background and the stories of the characters, etc. Of those guys. I put quite a lot of effort in and handwritten notes and all this kind of stuff. So it'd be nice to get those guys out again and see the table. But I did make a rather silly, jokey pledge many ages and ages ago, early pandemic, that I would take Soul Blight to the first event back.
Yeah.
You know, when we just were having a 2-week breaker.
Yeah.
18 months ago. So it was to Alex's event.
There's one that's happening end of July.
Yeah, so that's now the end of July, or August, that weekend. So, oh my God, now I'm stuck playing Soul Blight, which is the brand new book. So I'm quite excited about that. Yeah, so that jokey comment that could have burned me is probably going to come good. So yeah, looking forward to that. And
have you got the bones of a list? Obviously, without knowing the rules that much.
I have got. I think I pointed it up in his ear, you know, just to put everything that I've got. Yeah. So I've got about 8,000 points worth of
so
the new Soul Blight book.
Yeah.
So I can pretty much do what I want. Probably need some more zombies. I've only got 160 of those. But no, probably not.
It's a lot of measuring inches to 2 models.
I know. I'm sure, you know, movement trays are a thing, right?
Yeah, I've still got some old square ones if you want that.
Stop it. So just getting out and gaming and just seeing how everything lands, because it does feel like someone's flipped the table and all the cards are fluttering around. And
absolutely. There's a lot of hot takes in isolation, which is kind of all people can do. You know, and it's generating a buzz, which is what GW probably wanted to do. People are looking at a paragraph and trying to retrofit it into the old game. And some of that might change, some of it might not, and I think that's going to be the beauty.
Yeah, I mean, you can see. I mean, I'm sure we'll get Tim on one of these interviews. You know, great guy, goblin player, but you know, he's hit it with sticks. That's his motto, isn't it?
How does this new
his moves just be like this?
Yeah.
All the way across these reveals. He's like suddenly going, I can reinforce infinite. I'm just gonna have 600 goblins in a unit, and I'm thinking, I'm not sure that's how that's gonna play out, mate. You know,
a boy can dream, mate.
Yeah,
the goblins probably got them as well.
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah. So, but yeah, getting back, seeing how all the pieces fit. Looking forward to getting the new book and General's Handbook and rocking up some games. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure we'll be back on here once we've played a few.
Yeah, absolutely.
So great stuff. Well, that is that's all the questions that we've got. Same standard, same format as everything else. So we'll dial off now and see you back in a few days with the next one.
And like and bells, subscribe,
All that normal
all
YouTube
that
stuff.
stuff. All
Yeah, I'm
that
sure these are going to get worse, these plugs, as the time goes on, I think. But yeah, do what you'd normally do on YouTube. It might help us.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
See you in a bit.